Hi Scrapbookers, Hayley here with another process video. Firstly I want to apologise for my last video and the volume issues I was having. I was trying to limit the amount of extra noise you hear, but clearly that didn't work because then no one could hear me, although I could hear it when I was editing, when I was listening back. So I'm going to try again, so let me know. Okay. This page is for a challenge, another challenge site that I'm part of, and it's my favourite. It's called CSI, if you don't know, which is Colour, Stories, Inspiration, and they have a challenge every week, which is it's not the best thing about the website, but it's one thing that really keeps me there, because I'm quite a prolific scrapbooker and I require that kind of a schedule. So some of the ones that are bi-monthly, even though they come in my blog reader, I still need to remember to go look, and I just find that their regularity really suits me. So I actually use papers and things from my kit I have pulled for July, which is from the Scrap Stash Kit Club. I'm not going to explain that in every video, but I will put a link below if it's something you're interested in. It's just a kit you pull from your own stash. So for this week, once a month with CSI, they do have a sketch. That's not something they have every week though. So this one came together really quickly because I did have a sketch to work with. So how they work, in case you don't know, is they have an inspirational picture which they take a colour palette from. So you'll have, say, 5 colours. So for this page here, the colours were kind of mint, orange, a tan, a brown and a yellow. And also they have a product list that you're supposed to select some items from. And they have a journaling area too, so that's kind of good for me because I'm quite into journaling, and it's quite good to find they kind of have a list of things, different ways and different styles to incorporate it into your page so that it kind of keeps it interesting. Okay, so all these papers here are from the paper pack that accompanied the Project Life core kit that was called Jade. So you could buy a paper pack that went with it. These were, apart from Fifth and Frolic, this is my favourite core kit. I like the small patterns, I like the duller off primary colours, and it just really suits me. I like all the cards. This piece I'm showing you now is from Bella Boulevard, and it's called Lucky Stars, and it's got the navy stars on one side and then it's got all these words on the other side. I knew I was going to use those, so I already pulled those and popped them up on foam. Now, one of my things I was supposed to use that I selected was a wet medium, and I probably should have gone with something like modelling paste, but anyway, I chose to go with ink. So that's why my stamps are floating around there. I also have one of the other things I picked was wood. So I've got, I think, 3 types of wood veneer things there, and just some other wee bits that colour coordinated. That piece that I'm popping up there just says Saturday, and it was another piece from that kit. These photos are of my eldest 2 daughters and 1 set of their grandparents. They live about 5 hours away, so we don't see them all the time, and they just happened to be down one weekend and came and watched them play football. Soccer for the Americans, but football for me. And so we were down at football, and they both won in each of their divisions Player of the Day, which was just hilarious. It was hilarious that they both won, and it wasn't rigged, even though my husband is a coach, so it could look a bit suspicious, but it wasn't. He didn't know about it. And yeah, they both won, and it was just lovely because they were there to share it with us, and they wouldn't normally. They probably see them play maybe once a season. And we joked that if there was such a thing in the real world, not just in our house, if there was such a thing as Toddler of the Year, then Gabby would have won that too, because we totally cleaned up. Okay, one thing I really like about these papers is the B-sides as well, which makes it quite the struggle for me. I think that I'm not sure if these are even widely available now. I guess they would be still. I really probably should get a second pack because I ummed and ahed over which sides to use with all of these papers. So that's a sure sign that you should have more. And in the background, that background piece is actually quite a light ledger. I don't know if you can make that out or not. So I'm just cutting these strips so there's no wastage. I really like those little patterns. I will use every piece of that paper, so that's why I keep it. And that web camera piece as well, I will use every piece of that, guaranteed. So that piece of Lucky Stars paper by Bella Boulevard, it's got so many colours in it, and it's going to do so, you're going to see so many pages with that font. It's going to do so many titles. I really love pieces like that that are really cost effective. Okay, I'm just putting a wee mark there where my title finishes so I can figure out my stamping. I had a that little stamp set which is the little arrow, and I'm going to use the circle that says good stuff. That is Amy Tan cut and paste. I had one stamped but it was black, and I remembered that one of the colours I was supposed to be using was actually brown. So I'm going to restamp it, and here you're going to see quite a bad stamping example. So my stamp pad there is the colour box chalk ink. I used to use that all the time. I love that because they're really crisp. Well, not probably crisp like archival ink, but they're a really good reliable ink. Like, you know what you're going to get. But that ink had been sitting around, so it's pretty old. I would think I went to my drawer. I know I've got one, a brand new one, but I'm pretty sure that I couldn't find it. So I'm trying to look for an alternative here. The stamp possibly, it looked like it had been cleaned, with like a paper towel or something I wouldn't use, so that means the children, because I don't clean them, so it wouldn't be me. Okay, so I've gone and got my distress ink, and that doesn't work either because it needs re-inking. So then I go get the re-inker, and I'll probably leave that to sit for a bit so it can soak in. And I'm not really expecting a super crisp image from distress ink because that's not really its purpose, but in a pinch it will do. I like the walnut stain over the vintage photo. I know heaps of people like vintage photo, but it's too, I don't know, it's too warm for me. I prefer the darker one. Oh, and I've got this cute wee wood veneer flag thing there, banner, from Studio Calico, and this thing that's making memories metal, what was it called, signage or something, that thing's super old. I'd love to know how old that is, but I'm pretty excited to use that up. And then one of these little emoticon faces from Freckled Fawn. So I was trying to incorporate, you know, the wood, because that was one of my chosen things. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my stamping, and this turns into an even bigger adventure than this. Okay, so that's a lot better, but there's still some residue on the stamp, and I'm sure it's from misuse. It's not the stamp, because I've used the stamp heaps, but it's just not great. And unlike with the black image where you can colour in the bits, I don't have a decent brown pen that would do the job. But I have learnt from somewhere, it might have been, I like to give credit when I can remember, it might have been Christina Werner, but I haven't watched any of her videos for a long time, so it would just be way back in the archives somewhere. Okay, so where somebody, maybe her, said that if you're having trouble getting the ink to hold, to stamp it in Versamark first. Like, put Versamark onto your stamp, then stamp with the ink, and then put it on your paper. And that worked the best. So there you go, people. If you're really average at cleaning stamps, well, don't do it, and your stamp's not working. put it in the Versamark, put it in the ink. Works great. So that might work good for you know, some of those lesser quality stamps that people have trouble stamping, well, with the image anyway. So that may work for that as well. But it worked here and I was pretty pleased. Okay, so while I am tediously pulling off the back of these foam pieces, I had some questions. I know. I can't believe anyone's interested, but thank you very much, Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Kelly asked me 2 questions, so that was really exciting for me. She asked me if I have a scrap room. Yes, I do. It's called the living room. We don't have enough room with all the children to have a dedicated space, and I've had dedicated spaces in the past, and although it's really nice and I do sometimes fantasize about being able to shut the door, go somewhere and shut a door, that wouldn't actually work for our family right now. I mean, my littlest one's only 2 and I really need to be where they are. So I have a space in our living room. We used to have a big bar in there which we didn't use, so we removed that, and then it was just kind of a space that didn't have a purpose, so I filled that. And it works most of the time. Yes, I mean there are pros and cons to all of it, but it matches with our life, which is what's important to me. Is I can sort things and organise things and tidy up things while they're doing their home learning and things. So I would much prefer that at this point. And the other question is, do I do haul videos? Hadn't occurred to me to do a haul video, but you know, I sometimes watch them, so I don't know why it hadn't occurred to me. I don't buy an excessive amount. I buy bits and pieces here and there, but I am happy to do that. Let me know what you guys think, if you want to see it, if you want me to do one and you can see how awful I am at it, and then you might vote me out. I do have a few new things actually that I got this last week, so I'm happy to give that a go and try it and give you all a laugh. Yeah, so let me know. And thanks, Kelly. That was really cool. Okay, so here I've just gone through my Project Life box of cards, and I've pulled out some that are from the Jade collection. And the reason I really like being able to do this, I use a lot of Project Life cards in my regular scrapbooking anyway, but the reason I really like this is the tone of the card, that kind of off-white, a little bit of grey, you know, that kind of tone is hard to match of that background, but the card will match perfectly. And I'm not like opposed to white and cream together or anything like that, but when it's something like this, it's just so nice when it just goes together and you didn't have to think too hard about it, let's face it. So yes, I don't have this whole Jade kit, but and I probably don't need it because I have so many cards, but I really do love those cards and the colours and everything about that. I think that I journal this off camera, not intentionally, just forget, but you will be able to see it in some stills later on. Now, one thing to bear in mind if you do my stamping exercise with the Versamark and the Distress ink, the image does, you know how Distress ink's meant to stay wet longer. It stays wet quite a bit longer. I mean, that had been sitting off to the side for, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and it's still quite wet. So just bear that in mind. If I'd thought about it, I would have used the heat gun on it, but you know, wasn't anticipating. So. Okay, now I'm just going back to my original bits and pieces. And these are just Studio Calico wood stars. I really like those. They're really versatile. I'm on my second lot of them, and I'm thinking maybe I should stockpile another packet. Okay, so here I'm using my wee pickup stick thingy, and my Tombow Monomoto glue to just put those stars down. Not a great deal of thought going into where they're placed or anything, just popping them round. Okay, so that's that done. Excusing all my cleaning up here. So I put that little banner on foam too, just so it would sit at the same height to the Good Stuff stamp. And also they bow a little bit. I know some of the cards do too, the wood cards, but they bow quite a little bit. And if you've got kind of a firmer adhesive like the foam, it kind of makes it hold its shape. And it wedges in nicely to that Good Stuff stamp. Okay guys, I'm just going to show you the bits and pieces close up now so you can get a better view of it. Oh, and I apologise for this randomness, I'm not sure what that was about. And that is the page done. And here are just a few stills. And thanks so much for watching and coming by, and I will talk to you again soon. And please let me know regarding my question, about the whole thing, and about the volume. That would be awesome. Thanks.